you know, quite fun, and it was very more of an open conversation that these people were having, and I was like, let's give it a try. Let's see how it actually the approach is with like the clapping of teachers are
Mm-hmm.
carrying up the approach to teach people English, because it is something that even I'm thinking of very
Mm-hmm.
least, from past few days to start teaching
Mm-hmm.
English.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Oh, you are, uh-huh. You want to start teaching English yourself. Is that right?
yes, yes. To somewhat extent, I also do
Okay, okay.
teach, but then I want to take it more on a broader level.
Mm-hmm. How so? Would you like to elaborate for me?
When I say like on a broader level means coming on the internet and then building a brand itself
Uh-huh.
and trying to play go with the
Uh-huh.
same approach, going with the real life based conversations and trying to teach people, because see, these days, if you
Uh-huh.
understand, ma'am, that people are
Mm-hmm.
not interested anymore into the grammar, grammar classes or like this traditional way of learning, right? The approach has been
Correct,
changed,
correct, correct.
very different.
Right, completely. Yeah. Right, I understand. So you have noticed the same. You mentioned that you are currently teaching, but you would like to take it up a notch, right?
Right, exactly.
Correct. Okay, so how do you teach now?
Well, as of now as well, I always go with this approach that these days what I'm noticing within the human
Mm-hmm.
conversation is that, and since the time a
Yes.
lot of these AIs came, that people are trying to learn English, but they're trying to learn it in the most technical
Yeah.
way, at a very technical approach.
Uh-huh.
So the emotion intelligence is something that I always see within these people are lacking behind. When it comes to having a formal conversation
Correct.
like this, it might show up their professionalism in terms of the way of speaking, but when it comes to actually
Mm-hmm.
expressing the emotions or creating a sense of humor,
Right.
that is something that I don't see
Right,
in
right,
many
right, right.
people.
Mm-hmm. So, how to be more expressive? You want that to be part of your communication skills, correct? More
Yes,
expressive, just express yourself. Don't be monotonous or robotic while putting yourself out there or conveying your thoughts, right? Okay, that's a good approach. Of course, that should be there. Voice modulation, intonation, we focus on all of that too, so
exactly.
that you can be more expressive. You can be impactful rather than just being monotonous while communicating.
That is
Okay,
right.
I understand, Shiva. Okay, so I understand that you are not here to learn. Is that right? Would you like me
Definitely.
to
I mean,
talk
see,
about
there's
that?
there's there's I, more of a student perspective, no, but definitely there is always a lot to learn from a teacher who is
Mm-hmm.
teaching English on a global
Mm-hmm.
platform, and there's always an area
Uh-huh.
of learning that I can understand. I might have a couple of
Mm-hmm.
questions. I mean, what are the
Yeah, yeah.
difficulties or something that you are noticing in these today's students that you are teaching them, and how are you approaching them with that things, if you want to
Correct.
share
Okay,
your
so
experience.
uh-huh. Yeah, I would definitely like to do so. So, Shiva, yes, I have noticed the tone. That's the last thing that they have in their mind, correct? The current scenario, I feel that they want to learn more vocabulary because a lot of times nowadays people have started using more proverbs, more idioms, more phrasal verbs while communicating and better
Exactly.
vocabulary too, if they are good at communicating, right? So, people face a lot of difficulty there. So, initially when they come and if they are not able to understand better vocabulary or enhanced version of it, if we call it, right, then they face more difficulty there. They start losing their confidence more, correct? So
Exactly.
they are a lot apprehensive while communicating. With grammar also, we feel that it's not as important. It's not like you have to know the concepts, you may have to memorize it, right? It's not
Exactly.
that. But if you keep on repeating the wrong versions repeatedly, right?
Exactly.
You just can change the meaning of what you are trying to say, right? That's something that I've noticed multiple times too. Model auxiliaries, conditional scenarios, people face a lot of difficulty there too.
You're right.
I feel that they want to, if they are at basic foundation level, then they completely want us to take over, right?
Exactly.
Teach us however you want to. If they are at intermediate or pre-intermediate, they would want they would have their own requirements. So they would want to have their own inputs in how they want to learn, right? So it could be related to vocabulary, their sentence, sometimes with accent also, they could have their requirements. So as you want your approach to be that you want the conversations to be different every time, correct,
Right.
while talking to your students. So we also do the same over here. We have different topics in each and every session. These topics are also based on different concepts, grammar concepts. So it's not like that you have to remember them, but you're getting to practice them once you understand it.
Exactly.
So even if you repeat the wrong versions again and again, you can become habituated to the wrong ones. So here you get to repeat the right versions. You gain confidence also that yes, I'm speaking in the right manner. A lot of times I've noticed that the learners are quite apprehensive while communicating. What if I'm speaking wrong? What
Yeah,
if I
that's very
have
true.
spoken this sentence? Right? So that leads them to become less confident while speaking. So they start speaking, there's some things start changing after 2 to 3 sentences. They would start speaking low, their speed would decrease. Right? So that for that we need to also work on them being able to speak for longer durations too, I feel.
I mean,
What's your approach?
that's the whole point. I mean, I've also came across with a lot of students.
Right.
When it comes to
Uh-huh.
their level of English, I think it is fair enough, at least to an intermediate level. But this inferiority within, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know with the right approach, or like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know with the what kind of environment that they have been put in themselves. The
Mm-hmm.
morale has been
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
down, and they are not confident enough
Right.
within themselves like they're a fine speaker. But I know I come across with all
Mm-hmm.
these learners every single day, so I know the level, and I feel like, I mean, why are you wanting to learn, and what are you expecting me to, because you are really good at English. But what I've noticed them
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is, apart from English, there is this lack of discipline that they are not able to follow. The very first part,
Mhm.
people, the students that I teach right now, most of the students are actually paying me just to be more disciplined, just to give them this and disciplined environment so
Yes,
that they can practice.
yes, yes, yes.
So lack
Correct,
of
correct.
discipline
They
is
don't
something.
have the right exposure. Right, right, yeah.
And the another thing is that this vocabulary
Mhm.
thing that you have mentioned, I also come across with people with which I generally feel that I take it personally, I feel that you need to have the knowledge of right vocabularies, but you really don't have to put in on your day-to-day basic languages, like basic communication. You keep it to
Mhm.
yourself just in
Mhm.
case you find somebody, a super pro speaker coming up with all these idioms and phrases. So you know it what to respond and how to respond. But I go
Right.
with this approach to
Mhm.
keep my English as simple as possible. And point is
Mhm. Mhm.
this urgeness of learning quick. So in India,
Yeah.
learning English as a language, the approach has been given. I mean, I
Mhm.
was going with this advertise that hello, fellow learners,
Mhm.
and there's this guy committing, giving a commitment to get this
Yeah.
any learner fluent in English within 1 month. And this is a very wrong approach that is being put in the market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It takes
Right,
time.
right. hmm
If you go
It
to
takes time, it takes discipline, it takes consistency.
absolutely,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
if you go out there in the
Go ahead.
market, just for an example, if you go out there in the market to learn any different languages, as a teacher, I would give
Mm-hmm.
you all these brochures to see that, like, to reach to a level one, see A1, B1,
Mm-hmm.
C2, something
Right,
like this. There's a
right,
time
right, right.
duration.
Uh-huh.
And me as a learner, I would accept it.
Of course.
But
Yes.
English is the only language where people are very, like aggressive about to learn it faster. I mean, that's not possible.
Right,
If you try
right,
to learn
right.
something faster, you would
The
end
way.
up taking more time.
Mhm. Correct, correct, correct. You would not learn it in the right manner. Correct.
That
And
is the whole point.
language is something, not only English, I feel like every language has its own time that you need to practice it. It requires consistency. You need to speak, like with a lot of learners, I have also noticed regarding vocabulary that they read a lot. They watch a lot of podcasts or something or the other. So they pick up new words, but they are not well versed with them.
Right.
Basically, they do not recall them while speaking spontaneously because
They go blank.
it gets overwhelming for them while they go blank, right? The most common sentence that I hear is that I go blank when I have to speak, right? That happens because they are not well versed with it. They don't get to use the vocabulary that they learn. So that again requires practice, that you should have active chance of using those certain words so that you can use it in multiple sentences to ensure that you don't go blank while speaking.
I mean,
So
that's
that's
a
there.
very kind of the slogan has been, from the learners, like we go completely blank. And my
Right,
question
right,
that
right.
comes within is like, where do you go
Uh-huh.
blank actually? I mean, you are speaking fine with me with simple English.
Correct. No, right, right, right. A lot of times when they have prepared beforehand, right, then it's
Exactly.
fine
Yes,
for
yeah.
them. And right, if they want to stick to simple English, basic English, that's fine. But with a lot of people, a lot of learners, especially who want to clear a job interview, who are
Right.
currently working in corporate offices, right, or in IT industry, or even with the schools also, even with children,
Right.
it has started happening that they are required to have better vocabulary. So then they face difficulty there, that I'm not growing more in my profession because I do not have better communication skills. I'm US clients, nowadays people have a lot of native speakers that they need to communicate with
Absolutely.
on a daily basis. So there they face difficulty not only with the speaking but with understanding also. So they come up with these different requirements that I want to work on vocabulary, or I want to also include phrases, different idioms, proverbs. We want to also work on better sentence structure. So we incorporate more complex sentences, conjunctions as well while communicating. We
Right.
have to also work on their accents sometimes.
Accent
Okay,
is a big
there
deal
are
in
certain
India.
requirements.
Accent is a big deal in India because
Yeah.
I come across, I've
No,
spoken
not
with
a.
yeah,
Uh,
please.
yeah, yeah, gone.
I mean, I
No, no,
speak
go
with a
ahead, go
lot of
ahead. You
people
come across.
from different countries, and accent is the only complaint or kind of a feedback that I receive. Like, it's really hard to understand Indian people sometimes. So, accent,
Uh-huh.
especially from certain part of region of India, the accent is really like raw
Mhm.
to understand the native speaker.
Right, right, right. Correct, correct. Sometimes it's about understanding also, like it's not particularly about mother tongue influence, right? Sometimes it can have some kind of disadvantage because it can be difficult for person from another region to understand.
Right.
Particularly, I get requests for accents like I want to learn US accent or British accent or Australian accent, correct? Because they have those uh, clients or even colleagues that they need to communicate with or superiors that they need to communicate with.
Exactly.
That sometimes, so we have to like focus on a few syllables in that manner, like this is the tone that I can use. That's completely different altogether. Although those requests are not not so much, but they are
Right.
there.
I mean, these days the youth, like the kids that I see, they are very much into this American accent because of the regular contents that they have been watching.
Mm.
It's very natural within them. The guys like
Right,
us, coming from, or at
right,
least me as a old school guy, it took me some time to get myself well versed with the American accent. But yeah, I think
right,
the
right,
15
right.
minutes is done,
Mhm.
or like, I mean, we are supposed to be extending the
Okay, so
conversation.
15 minutes. Yeah, yeah. So 15 minutes are done, but the 15-minute sessions last up to 19 minutes and 25-minute sessions last up to 29 minutes. So that's there because we extend it a bit more. And then there is the minute wherein we give feedback,
All right.
personalized, customized both so that they are aware about their improvements along with them. Yeah, so basically you,
Sorry
yeah,
about
I
that.
can hold. Yeah, you need to, if you want to leave the session, it's also fine. If you have some work, if you
I
had
mean,
this time in
if,
between.
so I have the time to have the conversation. I just have to be make sure that I'm not
Yeah.
taking up your time in terms of. So I would like to speak
No, no, no.
more, definitely
Yeah,
in
no.
terms of a discussion, or if at all,
Yeah.
if you also
Uh-huh.
have any kind of feedback for my level of English as a teacher, I would definitely would be happy to
Yeah.
receive it.
No,
So if
yeah. You are able to communicate from what I have spoken. You are not only able to communicate, you are able to do it proficiently, so you don't have to worry. Of course, you have your own students, so you are able to converse with them too. And I understand that this is not for you joining the session, it's about you understanding what's going on here. Is that right?
but still, I would
You
stick to
mentioned
this
YouTube
question.
channels also.
I would still stick
Yeah,
with this
which one?
question.
That
Just
feedback?
yeah, that take me as a joiner or somebody as a learner, and still, if you have to give me a certain feedback, what would
Yeah,
that be?
right. Uh-huh. No, I genuinely do not have any feedback particularly because sometimes there are very minor mistakes which happen. Correct, like two or three. So that can happen because
Right.
it could happen in Hindi also, in our mother tongue as well. So there were those two to three minor things which I won't like to mention as much because it's
Right.
fine. You were mindful about it. You are aware about those concepts also. So it's not a problem. You are able to communicate. You know, if you want to use better vocabulary or better words also, you would be able to do so also, because generally I would be like that if you want to have better vocabulary, we can just start working on that. We can start working on complex sentences too, because we currently are not using any conjunctions, or we are not using any kind of phrases or enhanced vocabulary. So we can start incorporating that. If you want, we can start working more on a bit of body language, like hand gestures or something of that sort, which can make your conversations more impactful.
Exactly.
Correct. Again, according to the person, because it's completely personalized, right? So we can start working on the requirements of the person too, right? But I
That makes
see
sense.
that you are limiting yourself also. It's not like that you want to showcase everything, right? So I understand that. So there's no particular shortcoming from your end.
So the point is, it's
Okay.
kind of a very first session. So I have this habit of mine. I am usually a kind of a personality who gets very excited when it comes to dwelling into a
Yeah.
conversation. So I need to keep myself
Mm-hmm.
in control very consciously so that I don't end up speaking all the time and let the other person speak.
Yeah.
I
Right,
have a
right.
passion towards speaking. I can just speak on and on
Yeah.
for a person to not
Uh-huh.
let speak and then listen to
Mm-hmm.
me. And the person other side will be
Uh-huh.
kind enough to listen to me, which I don't want to be. I am here to understand things from the other person. That is why I was like trying to
No, no.
listen
Uh-huh.
all the time.
This was a wonderful session. You were listening, and even I got to get to know your point of view. So it was wonderful for me as well. Now the session is about to end. That's why I had to interrupt you.
Absolutely, that's okay.